Yes, it has been. I mean, we may say that this is what we see in polls is the result of her idea of not rocking the boat too much. That is to say, there were fears of her government being some kind of threat to democracy. But instead, she was mostly playing as expected from the campaign. I remember that the main campaign slogan was pronti, that is to say, ready to govern. She essentially played as a sort of Berlusconi 2.0. That is to say, protecting the interests of businesses, the large and the small, medium businesses, and self-employed, but not doing too much non-mainstream on other fronts.
How do you think businesses view Meloni's first year? I think, as you said, the slogan was to get to work and to be supportive of businesses. And yet there have been a couple of, I would say, gaffes along the way, especially with the rollout of the Italian banking tax. There's a lot of backlash against it. They were forced to water it down. So how do businesses and enterprises view this government now?
Now, you have to first take into account the Italian business landscape. We have, of course, a lot of large business, but at the same time, there is an enormous number of small and medium businesses and the self-employed. So what she basically did is, on the one hand, she took measures towards small and medium businesses. For example, their government extended tax cuts to a higher income level. They have a specific advantages tax regime for the self-employed. At the same time, there was a point where she considered taxing excess profit, especially for banks, and that measure was then watered down because, of course, there were reactions by big business. So in a way, it might be sort of the mixed relationships, but at the same time, what is clear in Italy is that the center-right is always more favorable to businesses, large and small, than is going to be the center-left. So there's always the fear that any center-left government will introduce more taxes. So this is why we'll say there is an ongoing sort of stable relationship, so that any government from the center-right will be better than any government from the center-left. And she's benefiting from that.
Lorenzo, there were a lot of jitters when Meloni came to power around what Italy's relationship with the EU would look like under her tenure. It's actually been pretty conciliatory, and she's worked quite closely with Ursula von der Leyen. Looking at the polls, like Jumana just outlined, it seems as though the electorate is pretty satisfied with her relationship with the EU. Would you say that's fair, or are there tensions around her more conciliatory approach?
No, it is fair, because in a way, she turned quite mainstream. She took quite staunch pro-Atlantic stances on the Ukrainian war. She developed quite good relationship with EU Commission management, and especially with President Ursula von der Leyen. In a way, I mean, she's trying to mark the difference on some aspects, for example, on immigration in discussions with other European partners. She's always trying to preserve some kind of idea that the first right-wing government in years will bring some change. But at the same time, she's developing good relationship. And this is one of the reasons why she enjoys good press in Italy from the mainstream media, also because of good Atlantic relations. The